Now the second scripture reading. It's from Luke chapter 23, verses 33 through 43. When they came to the place that is called the Skull, they crucified Jesus, there with the criminals, one on his right and one on his left. Then Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." And they cast lots to divide his clothing. And the people stood by watching. But the leaders scoffed at him, saying, "He saved others, let him save himself. If he is the Messiah of God, his chosen one." The soldiers also mocked him, coming up and offering him sour wine, and saying, "If you are the king of the Jews, save yourself." There was also an inscription over him, "This is the King of the Jews." One of the criminals who hanged there kept deriding him and saying, "Are you not the Messiah? Save yourself and us." But the other rebuked him, saying, "Do you not fear God, since you are under the same sentence of condemnation? And we indeed have been condemned justly, but we are getting what we deserve for our deeds. But this man has done nothing wrong." Then he said to Jesus, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." And he replied, "Truly I tell you that today you will be with me in paradise." This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. So in lieu of a message, I'm going to elicit help from Joanne and Karen. And I'm just going to start by saying it is stewardship time. And I know last year I had us plant tulips. And I'm sure we all saw them come up around the cross at Easter time. It was really quite remarkable. And my message last year was, when we plant and when we believe, things come through. Joanne and I have been working on Midnight Run, and I'm going to let her tell you her experience. But as you all know from my last testimony, that it is very moving. And I felt the same yesterday with Jam Peak, helping those that can't help themselves. So Joanne, if you want to come up, and thank you. And that these are ways to be stewards also, by giving of ourselves, as well as donating food and monetary as well. But this is a great way.
Well, good morning, everybody. The weekend of Halloween, my son and his two daughters came to visit us, and that happened to be the Saturday before prep for for Midnight Run. And I was a little hesitant. I had not committed to go and help at Midnight Run that day because I knew my family was going to travel 7 hours to get to me, and I didn't know how they'd feel about, driving another good part of an hour to get to Scarsdale right afterwards. But when I did ask them, they were willing to do it, and they were kind of excited. We had the morning free. So we went, and when we got there was so much energy and goodwill in the room. We were so welcomed. My granddaughters are 9 and 11, and they contributed their own energies to the room. And everybody had a job to do. The girls were folding clothes, and later they were assembling snack bags. Lloyd and I were in the kitchen making sandwiches, and we had a lot of fun with the people there. They have a system whereby, you line it up this way and you do it this way, and it goes very quickly. And of course, Johanna and Marianne were out in the main room. I guess you guys were assembling bags or clothing.
Labeling the clothes.
Yeah. So, in addition to us, there were other people who were, kind of welcoming us into the group, including us, and getting our hands on things so we could be helpful. And it was quite nice. It really was. We stayed for a couple of hours, and then we left because we had other things we had to do, but that was fine. We didn't have to stay till the very end. I heard comments that they had not had this much help in a very long time, and they were really happy because they put a lot of time and hours into doing this. So anyway, since that day, I was asked if our church would like to make the soup that they offer for the midnight run. They give out a bagged lunch type of meal, they give out clothing, and they also have a hot soup at every stop that they make, and it's for 100 people. Imagine making soup for 100 people. So anyway, I have the recipe. I think it's too soon to do it during the holidays. We're already kind of inundated, but I thought perhaps in January. And the way that I would try to do this is to have a sign-up sheet with the ingredients, who could bring in whatever ingredients. You know, they're specific. They have a specific recipe that they've been using for a long time. And we're going to need people who like to cook. So some people, if you want to bring in food, other people, if you'd like to be the cookers, the chefs, and then, you know, some people could transport. So, you know, this is a way to be part of a mission without recreating the wheel, but really offering something nice and putting our goodwill forward. Thanks.
Thank you, Joanne. And if you have, again, any blankets or sleeping bags or whatever you would like to donate to Midnight Run, we'll take in collection. And we'll bring it down to them in January, since the December is the Christmas Eve is when they're doing the run, and we won't be able to participate in that. And November, I won't be around. So I don't know if you were planning on doing November or... Yeah, it gets a little crazy, but they did say that during the holidays they have lots of volunteers because the kids are home from school and things like that, so it's good. Second part of our stewardship kind of sort of message today, Karen's going to, our financial techie person is going to tell us about you know, required minimum distributions and how they can be given to the church. There you go.
So I just have one question, Joanne. You're looking for people that are cooks. Will you take people that want to learn how to be cooks? Will you train us? Okay, that's fine. Following directions is good. Okay, well, that means maybe I can be there. Okay, good. All right. So, what I love about this church is that it's very active, you know, in the homeless locally at Jan Peak, which is in Peekskill, and in the city through Midnight Run. You know, this place gets stuff done. It's amazing what gets done. And it's not, so it's the active participation in the church, out in the community, with our nursery school, and yes, we have to collect money to support our endeavors as well. So what I want to encourage everybody to do, of course, contribute. Everybody's already contributing their time, remarkable talents from everybody in here, and your finances, if you can. So giving today, throughout the year, give regularly, give often, give as much as you can manage. One thing I learned about was that you can give not just today, but you can also give tomorrow and after you're gone. So obviously, remember us in your will, if you can. One other thing is that you can, so as people get older and you have this IRA, at some age, they make you take some money out every year. It's called the required minimum distribution. So everybody don't fall asleep yet. And it turns out that even if so I inherited a small IRA divided by all the kids in my family. And I also, even though I'm not of age, my mother would have been. And so I have to take out an RMD. It turns out, if you take out the RMD, if you ask your broker or whoever it is for a form, you can have that donation go directly to the church. What does that do? It means that instead of you taking out the RMD and having to pay taxes on it, the entire amount can get sent to the church, or some portion of it, whatever you deem, whatever your heart moves you to do. But it just means that it's a little more efficient way to donate if you wish. So since it's kind of coming up on the end of the year, let's seize that moment, okay? And thank you all for all your current and future donations. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. And as we all know, we love this church. That's why we're here. And we all do so much for it. And we all want it to be here no matter what it looks like in 200 years, since it's been here for over 200 years. And everything that we do, I also want to say, we don't have to keep it in here. We're going out there, but also invite someone to come. Invite someone to come that you know maybe doesn't go to any kind of religious service or whatever, and say, come and you can start with tonight at the Interfaith, and say, come and see what we do and see what we're about, and, you know, ask one person. Maybe that could be your goal for your stewardship for 2023, is to bring a friend. Okay, let's continue on with our service, and rise in spirit and, if able, to hymn 85.